Hello and welcome to Africa Media Matters, featuring interviews and comment about media issues across the African continent. I'm Alex Jakana. In recent years, Rwanda has faced severe criticism for its squeeze on media freedom and harassment of independent journalists. But could this be about to change? The government has agreed to review 3 laws that campaigners say restrict press reporting. Africa Media Matters discussed the significance of the move with Henry Maina, the East African director of the Freedom of Expression group Article 19. He began by outlining the pieces of legislation the Rwandan authorities say they will consider reforming.
The government has agreed to review 3 main legislations. One, the media law, which was enacted in 2009. The second law that they promised to review is the provisions on criminal defamation within the old penal code, because Rwanda kept the 1968 penal code with very few amendments. The third law that they promised to review is the genocide ideology law, which was passed in 2008.
How restrictive are these pieces of legislation?
These pieces of legislation are quite restrictive in the sense that, for instance, the media law goes against international acceptable tenets of freedom of expression by prescribing who can practice journalism and mass communication and what offense they can commit if they write or communicate certain types of information. For instance, it criminalizes criticizing the president and public officials. It outlaws anybody who does not have a degree to practice journalism. It also seeks to offer licenses at a cost that is prohibitive, because it asks people to pay money if you want to run a radio, if you want to run a newspaper, or if you want to run a TV. And to most of us who work on human rights, we ask, the government does not offer newsprints. Why would it be charging fees for you to run a newspaper in the first place? It could make sense to have a small fee for frequency spectrum management if you are running radio and television. But you see, the import of these licensing fees is just to make it restrictive so that the government controls who has access to the airwaves and therefore restricting freedom of expression. When you talk about the criminal defamation law, what it does is that instead of putting civil sanctions on anybody who defames another, it elevates public leaders beyond certain levels. You cannot criticize them for whatever they do in public life, for fear that if you did that, then you would earn yourself a criminal sanction. And this criminal sanctioning has been used just to silence those not thought to be pro-government. The third law is the genocide ideology law, which seeks to proscribe people who want to deny that the genocide happened in Rwanda. But it goes beyond that, because even people who want to just access justice and question the truth, what was the cause of genocide in Rwanda, who was involved, have they all been accountable for whatever they did, then you are likely to be classified as a genocide denier and then incarcerated under the genocide ideology laws. So that means that these 3 sets of laws infringe on freedom of expression, freedom of association, and freedom of opinion. Yet these are the bedrock rights to any democracy.
So the Rwandan decision then is extremely significant.
It is, because for them to have accepted to look at these laws again and see areas that need amendment so that they conform to international standards is a big step.
How much pressure has been put on the Rwandan authorities to agree to this review?
I think there's been a significant level of pressure, both from inside and outside Rwanda.
Are you confident the authorities will reform the legislation that they said they will review?
Yes, I'm quite confident. I think from our perspective that there is that window of opportunity. It is how well we work toward ensuring that we put in certain minimums so that if the window were to close, we've not lost out.
That was Henry Maina of Article 19 speaking to us from Nairobi. IWPR, giving voice, driving change.